there?
Stay high. That's even better, too. Yeah, Wintrust Field, that season is coming closer than you can think by the day, and honestly, it can't get here quick enough for me. I'm, by the day, kind of counting things down a little bit. We're down to 56 days now. Actually, yesterday was 56, so today's 55, but who's counting until the season opens?
Wow. Well, that's awesome. We'll be talking more about Boomers baseball leading up to the start of the season, and when you go back to Wintrust Field, Susie C., it's going to be a lot different than the last time you went if it's been a long time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I am sure. But I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we have about, I guess, about 2-3 minutes. We're having some computer issues here, so when I hear the music start to play, I'll know we're done.
Yeah, I can do my positive quote of the day.
Yeah, sure. What you got?
We got that. So for me, I said today, a beautiful day begins with a beautiful mindset.
Yes.
And it is a beautiful day.
It is.
Woke up this morning positive, looking at the moon. It's going to be a beautiful day.
And it's a baseball weather kind of day today.
Sure is.
As we hit 80 degrees for the high later on today before the storm comes late tonight. But as we leave today, Tim, any football thoughts? A big week for the Bears signing another veteran offensive lineman, right?
Yeah, it was a big week for the Bears, adding Drew Dahlman. I think there was a little bit of disappointment that the Bears did not get Khalil Mack, but he signed for $18 million with the Chargers to re-up. The Bears weren't going to pay him $18 million. They did get Grady Jarrett, who is an interesting defensive lineman. So they're paying a lot of money to a couple of older defensive linemen who really haven't performed the way that they're capable of the last couple of years. But I think the hope is, you put them into the defensive front and it makes everybody else better around them, or the fact that they're focusing on someone like a Montez Sweat helps those two individuals break free. So the complete inside of that offensive line has been redone by Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson. I think you can see Ben Johnson's influence on what he's done with this team. And it's going to be really kind of cool to see, how this group develops and whether Caleb Williams is going to finally have some protection in front of him.
Yeah, and the fact that it seems like the players that are thinking about signing with the Bears now are because they feel like the organization has some stability and a coach with some credibility, even though he's never been a head coach before, in Ben Johnson, right?
Absolutely. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he becomes a head coach. I think a lot of people want to play for him. I mean, that's what Drew Dalton said point blank. He said, I took less money to come to the Bears because I wanted to play for Ben Johnson. And obviously, when you look at the Lions and how good they've been good because of their offensive line. And so his influence is definitely there. And like I said, hopefully it means good things moving forward.
There's the music.
We're back on. We're bogging slow, but we're back on.
Okay. Well, Tim Calderwood, thanks a lot for the time, man, and appreciate you joining us every Friday, and we look forward to another discussion with you next week.
Great to meet you, Tim.
Always a pleasure. Nice to meet you as well. Be good, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Tim Calderwood, Boomers Baseball starts in May. Susie C's going to a game, and I'm sure I'll be at a few this year, too.
Heck yeah.
Well, thanks for another successful week, Susie C.
Absolutely. I had a good time. Hopefully you did, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting there day by day.
Yep, we're getting there.
Add some new twists and turns to the show next week.
Yep.
And thanks for all the phone calls and all the welcomes to Susie C. And stay tuned, because coming up next as we head into the weekend, it's going to be Chief Anna Lally. And Fridays with the Finest. And then Steve Thoren's in with a Senior Community Spotlight Show. And we're going to see if we can get back up on YouTube in just a couple of minutes, too. WRMN, happy weekend.
Happy weekend, all.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Credan. Brought to you by Cintas. Naperville experienced a dip in crime rates last year with the notable reductions across property, personal, and societal crime categories. The police department reports that property crimes decreased by 112 incidents, personal crimes saw 167 fewer victims, and society crimes dropped by 42 cases. The Naperville District 203 School Board is set to decide on a carbon action plan that aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions over the next decade and achieve net zero emissions by 2050. The plan was crafted with the help of environmental consultants Caramita Inc. and with input from concerned students. Kane County will engage in its 39th no-refusal DUI patrol this St. Patrick's Day weekend from 11 a.m. Saturday till 3 a.m. on Sunday. The state's attorney's office, in collaboration with local police, will enforce the initiative. The program aids police in obtaining search warrants for suspected DUI offenders who decline chemical testing. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Credan.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. Big 12 men's hoops on Wednesday, second round action. Number 12, Iowa State beat Cincinnati 76-56. Colorado beat West Virginia 67-60. Baylor knocked off Kansas State 70-56. In overtime, the Kansas Jayhawks beat UCF 98-94. Quarterfinals today, it's Iowa State against BYU. Colorado battles Houston. Texas Tech against Baylor. Kansas versus Arizona. Big Ten first round, Northwestern beat Minnesota 72-64. Iowa over Ohio State 77-70. Double overtime, USC beat Rutgers 97-89. Today, Indiana faces Oregon, Wisconsin against Northwestern, Iowa battles Illinois, USC takes on Purdue. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters or condo with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
At Lowe's, our members get more. With the MyLowe's Rewards programs, members earn points on eligible purchases. Plus, you can shop member-only deals for your home and business every week. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. A wind advisory is in effect from 4 p.m. this afternoon to 4 a.m. Saturday, with a high wind watch from Saturday morning through Saturday afternoon in the listening area. Currently, it is 50 degrees and overcast. Today, gusty winds reaching up to 45 miles per hour are expected. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames. Because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster. Which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 9 o'clock.
The Elgin Police Department is dedicated to working in partnership with the community to promote safety and enhance the quality of life by serving with professionalism, encouraging open communication, and embracing diversity.
Engaged.
Partnering with our citizens and involved in our community.
Progressive.
Embracing innovative strategies while maintaining proven practices.
Dedicated.
Serving with integrity and professionalism. Elgin became an incorporated city in 1854 and installed its first police marshal, George W. Renwick. Over the years, the title of the head law enforcement officer changed from marshal to chief. And although the role has expanded, one duty has remained consistent: to ensure law and order for the citizens of Elgin.
It's time now for Fridays with the Finest, featuring Elgin's current police chief, Anna Lally, on Elgin's hometown radio station since 1949, WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
All right, Friday morning continues here at WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN Radio on YouTube, and I do believe we're back up on YouTube. And we're firing on all cylinders once again after a little internet glitch a little while ago. Yes, Hector lets me know we are back on YouTube. So that's one way to reach out to us this half hour if you want to, as you can join us at WRMN Radio on YouTube. Any questions, comments, thoughts for the chief this morning? The Image 360 information line's open at 505-926-1410. And, of course, phone lines are open at 847-931-1410. I mentioned that, Chief Anna Lally. First of all, welcome.
Welcome. Hello. Yes, thank you.
Mentioned that because it sounds like we kind of have a wide-open forum today, right?
Yeah, we don't really have, I don't have a guest. And, if anybody wants to call in and talk about anything, we're more than happy to take their calls.
Yeah.
So I have a couple things to talk about. And, and I'll start off with, unless there's something pressing that you guys have throughout the week. I mean, anything that came up.
A couple things for you. But,
go ahead.
Well, I guess the first thing we were talking about off the air just a little bit, we were talking about earlier this morning on the show about arrest warrants and the fact that the specific story was out of like the Carpentersville and Cary area, where some guy in January, I think it was arrested for, was pulled over for not driving without a license or something.
Okay.
Pulled over for some other reason, and they found out he didn't have a license or whatever. And so at that time, they ran the check on him or whatever, and they found that he had a warrant out from 2000, from like 25 years ago. So they arrested him, and the reason that he had a warrant out was because 25 years ago, after he had been busted, he posted bond, but never came back to court.
Yeah.
And so they had a warrant out because of that. And but apparently he had never been rearrested when that warrant was issued until they pulled him over here recently for the traffic stop. And so I was like, how persistent are police departments with following up on arrest warrants? How could it become 25 years? I guess there's lots of different factors, right?
Yes,
he could have left for a while, then come back to the area, things like that, right?
Yeah, I think, that's a great question. I think, so in general, because each case is very specific and so, and very unique, right? No two cases are the same for the most part. So in instances where, how persistent are police departments? So if you have a significant case, a homicide, aggravated battery, something where there's, a significant injuries or death or something that's a little bit more involved, detectives will, routinely try to locate people, and it's their case, and so they're persistent. At some point, though, they may reach out to other agencies, they may reach out to other departments, state departments, federal departments, but ultimately the warrant is placed into a database that every, law enforcement agency has access to, so that way, if they do, in this instance, they came into contact with him many, many years later, the warrant is still there for them failing to appear on their court date. So now if you have a case where somebody is, maybe it's a retail theft or, there's a warrant that's issued for that, and, there'll be some attempts to try to remedy the situation and arrest a person, but that's probably not going to be a priority compared to an aggravated battery or someone where a person is injured, right? So property versus personal crimes, and it depends. I can tell you, from my experience when I was a detective in the drug unit, well before I became a police chief and a supervisor, my cases that I would have, I would, if I was going to issue a warrant, I would try to find the person, attempt to find the person. And then it was something that was always kind of on my list, trying to make attempts. And sometimes you get information from people. And so the detective is, kind of, especially if they have they're really kind of, they take their cases very personal, and it becomes something where I still have a case from a pretty significant case where we recovered a large quantity at the time of cannabis. And I think that we were never able to find the person. So I think the warrant still remains. So At some point, obviously now as the police chief, I'm not actively, working my drug cases, right? You try to clear up your cases as best as you can before you move on to the next, chapter of your career. But it's in lead. So, if somebody finds something, which is a law enforcement database system, that's a system that everyone has access to, law enforcement. So it just depends on the severity of the case, magnitude of the case, public interest, how tenacious the detective is. There's all these factors. And sometimes too, it appears this guy just basically for 25 years just kind of was anonymous, right? Just kind of laying low, just doing his thing. And, you find those cases too, like where people are wanted on, FBI's most wanted, and they find these people like 20, 30 years later. And, they've literally just kind of, melted into society, right? They just, whether they change their name or they kind of change their behaviors and they just kind of become just people living their lives, right? Like how many people are just living their lives, right? And how many of those people might have warrants, but if they're not getting into any contact with the police, they're not getting stopped on a traffic stop. People are not calling saying, hey, unless you're telling people I have a warrant, right? And then people get mad at you and then they call and say, hey, John Smith is at 123 Main Street with a warrant. It can happen. So there's a variety of factors, but that's a great question because I think a lot of times, and we've talked about it where, television and there's this misnomer of that, there's a case and all of a sudden, we get on, 24 hours later, 48 hours later and bam, right? Everything's wrapped up in a nice little package. Sometimes it happens like that. When that happens, you just get basically lucky. But a lot of cases take a lot of time, tenacity. Look at our cold case, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That is just that podcast, and we talked about it last week. It's just people are very interested in that kind of stuff, right? It's great. I love it. I think our detectives were just on Channel 9, so I think we're going to post something this afternoon. They were on Channel 9 this week, just for about 5 minutes talking about the cold case unit and their cases, and people are very interested in it, very, very interested. So that interest generates a lot of leads. The leads then hopefully helps you either A, find the person that may have the warrant, or B, solve the case.
Well, by the way, next Wednesday will be the next day that we have on WRMN anyway for the episodes 6 and 7 of the podcast series. Somebody Knows Something. As they continue to try to find out what happened to Karen Sheepers from back in 1983. So we'll have 2 more episodes next Wednesday morning on the show.
And I've heard them already, so obviously I get the preview, right? So, but I'm not gonna give anything away. I'll keep people right. But I'm telling you, the detectives are doing a great job. Matt and Andrew are just. I think they've really kind of like, just gotten very comfortable and fell into these roles of now where it's they want to solve this case, and I think the community wants to solve it, and people want to know what happened, and and we have other cases that we also need to start looking at too. So my hope is that this first podcast and bringing this attention to people, and that we continue to do this, and we get some peace for the family.
Yeah, and those officially drop next Monday, I think, where you could watch them in advance of us airing them next Wednesday morning here on the station. Getting back to this story for just a moment. So Cary Police Chief Patrick Finlan said, it is unknown why Huerta Ruiz was not taken into custody earlier or where he's been for the past 25 years.
Exactly. Yeah. He's just laying low, right? So, I mean, if you choose to live an anonymous life, you truly can, right? To an extent.
Yeah. But if he came back, let's just say he's been looking for a job over the past 25 years in this area, and someone that was going to hire him, like ran a background check on him or something. Could they see that there was a warrant out for his arrest?
It depends what kind of background check that they do. So the general public are not, they're not able to have access to things that law enforcement agencies are. So some employers, they don't even, if you're going to get hired in the police department, we're going to find out if you have a warrant or not, because the nature of your job, right? But if I'm going to go work at, a place where it's really not, a public safety or security thing.
Johnny's Landscaping or something.
They might not be, they just might be like, we need people to cut the grass. We don't really care. So, it just depends who the employer is and what their safeguards are in. I mean, they may just ask you, right? Do you have any, have you ever been arrested, or do you have a warrant? and they may choose not to be honest and just say no, and they say, okay, good, you're hired. Right?
Yeah,
So it
there's
just,
the lawnmower.
yeah, no, I think that police chief, there's a lot, cut the grass, right? Summer's coming. So yeah, I think that police chief is spot on, right? Just we don't know. It could be anything. So yeah.
Yeah, and so the my new partner in the morning, Susie C, had the question: do they still have APBs?
APB. I know she said that which I just met her this morning. She seems like a very lovely person.
Yeah.
So yeah, APB, all points bulletin. So that's kind of old school.
Yeah.
You know, that's again, this is the when I hear someone, you know, there is something very similar that, you know, whether it's attempt to locate, right, or a bulletin or something like that. But APB is, you know, you'll hear that. You'll hear that sometimes, like in, you know, I was just at a conference a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to some New York officers from NYPD, and, you know, they kind of have that lingo from, you know, New York. So when you were listening to them, like, you know, but that's just kind of how they talk. We don't really talk like that here. You know, if you go to Chicago and you talk to the Chicago police officers, they kind of have some lingo too.
Yeah.
I don't really hear people saying APB. You know, it's kind of like an old school thing. Or, you know, you were watching your true crime shows, right? I'm sure they've said that multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yes.
9:12 here with the chief on a Friday morning. I know you have some things to get to, but I personally had one other question. Sure. Actually, maybe two more things, but one is we had a shots fired.
Yes, I was going to talk about that. Yeah.
And we had another one where
2 on the same day.
2 on the same day?
On March 11th, yes.
But the one shots fired wasn't really posted until an arrest was made.
Yes.
And I was wondering when I was reading through that, it was a 52-year-old Adolfo Castillo of Sherman Avenue was taken into custody. This was a shots fired, it says on the post, in relation to a domestic matter.
Yes.
Is that why the information was immediately held? Because it was maybe like a protection of privacy of some sort?
Yeah, so in that instance, we made an arrest on scene immediately. So at that point, once somebody's in custody, and now we need a little bit of time for the officers to do their job, the detectives to come in, and then ultimately the next day, you know, he's going to a detention hearing. So we just waited for the results of the detention hearing. So sometimes when we have a person in arrest immediately, they're going to a detention hearing. We wait until that's done because people are going to want to know. If we post and say this person is arrested, and we're then charging, it's easier to do it all in one thing, right? Here it is. This was the case. He was arrested. He was charged. He was brought to his detention hearing. Here's the outcome.
Got it. So most of the time when there's a shots fired, there's not an arrest made
exactly.
right at the time.
So like the one that we had earlier. So year to date, we're at 6 incidents. Last year at this time, we were at 13. So again, we're still, you know, lower than where we were at, which is a good sign, which is a good thing. Several arrests have been made in these 6 incidents. Some are still outstanding, including the one that happened on March 11th early in the morning. That was in the 300 block of Edison where we responded to shots fired. So that's still under investigation. But yeah, you know, you know, and then part of me was thinking I really haven't talked about shots fired over the past couple of weeks on the radio show. So maybe I should just stop talking about it, and maybe it will just stop. That's not going to happen. I mean, I hope that happens, but yeah. So that is where we're at for the year. 6 and 13 last year at this time. And we're going to continue to, you know, talk about it, give the information when we can. The detectives work very hard. Officers work very hard. And I think you guys see the results of that too, you know, when we do make arrests and cases are complicated. It's not simple. You know, they have to make sure that they have everything in place. They have to make sure that everyone's been talked to. Ultimately, the state's attorney has to authorize charges, right? So sometimes people do get arrested, but they're not charged, right? The state's attorney determines there's not enough there because they're looking at it through the lens of, you know, beyond a reasonable doubt. You know, can I prove this in a court of law that this person, you know, that the facts are there? So, so yeah, that was one thing that I did want to talk about.
Okay.
What was the other thing that you?
I just have a question asked to me to ask you, which seems to be about weekly now. Is there any new news out of the Lexington hotel? Have there been any police calls to action or any trouble over there?
Yeah, so nothing of, I will just say this, nothing of major concern. We are extending the detail for another 2 weeks. The cameras are in the process of being installed that were approved by the city council a few weeks ago. So we are going to extend the detail for another 2 weeks. One officer is still up there. Been talking with the city manager and just in terms of, you know, what is the exit strategy for us. but nothing of major concern. I'll just say that. So things seem to be, just going along. I mean, I drove by on 10 City or the old 10 City.
Yeah.
Completely different, right? So I literally, I haven't been down that way in a while, and I just went down there yesterday. I drove past it, and it's just, night and day.
Yeah, it's a bunch of rubble right now for the most part, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you don't see these huge structures,
Right.
and just if you look down the tracks, it's clear, and so
Does the ordinance, like this whole thing comes with a future no more sleeping in public places ordinance, right?
Yes.
Has that gone into effect yet?
Yeah, so the ordinance has always been there, so you can't be in public parks past a certain time. You can't have property, in a certain place, and you can't leave your property. So this is a tiered approach, right? So, the winter shelter the last day is Friday. So the downtown shelter that the city has for winter, that ends on Friday. So, we have to start thinking about, what's the tiered approach, because it is just a lot of people involved in it. This is not just a police thing, right? This is social services, the city, us doing public education, whether it's the ordinance that we just passed for being in the middle of the street. There's a little bit of a period where, people are being educated on it. We have written citations for that. In the past, we started it February 23rd, so it hasn't even been a month yet. So maybe next week I'll give some stats on that. But it's a tiered approach. So, I will just, from the police department perspective, if we get called to a person that's in a location that they should not be, we will do exactly what we've been doing for the past how many years? Approach, have a conversation, offer services, and ultimately, if they can't be there, they can't be there. So, but also, having to take into consideration where are people going, right? April is coming, this 4-month thing. The city's going to have to start talking about some plans and what they're going to do. So that's all in the works, right? So it's a tiered approach, and I think, but overall, it has been, obviously there was a lot of conversation in the beginning. Is it going to work? What's going to happen? We have had no issues at EMSA, so I want to say that, which was a big concern.
Right.
But again, we're there, right? So we have to think about our exit strategy and what that looks like for EMSA, what that looks like for for the rest of the city.
But there's still other maybe smaller homeless encampments around the area, and I guess that's the reason I asked that question is because some of those other people that are still homeless weren't offered the opportunity to go to the Lexington. Yes. So because they weren't, and this is a tiered process, there's really no crackdown happening on the people that are still sleeping in those spots.
If we're gonna respond to calls, we do. If we're gonna have, and we've had conversations with some people at the other encampments. We've had conversations with some people who do not want the hotel room, right? So this is something where knowing that there is another group of people or more people want the rooms, now maybe is the time to have those conversations and say, hey, it's time to. Maybe see if you do want the room now, and we'll see, right? We're going to have to, that's a conversation again with Jenna, if she's in the city. I want to stress again, the police are a very, very small part of this equation. We do our part, but at some part we need to leave. We need to leave the Lexington, right? We are there to ensure a safe transition. We are there to ensure security. But at some point that can't be a police department issue, right? Unless there's something criminal, right? In nature, then of course that's our problem. So slowly tiered approach, but I imagine eventually, since April is coming, there's going to be more conversation.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So that took some time, which is good, but that's all right. I have some really quick things that I want to talk about. I mentioned the shots fired cases that happened this week. So I want to just again talk about our autism event that's coming up on April 26th from 1 to 4 at the police department. So if you are able to make it, please do. Again, we really appreciate our partnership with the Autism Hero Project and Tamika. She can't come on the radio show. She usually comes on that Friday before the event, so I'll continue to talk about it for her. We just released this week, too. First time that we're doing it, it's called the Safe Together Police Academy. So I don't know if you can pull that up on our Facebook there.
I'm having a little issue with it right now.
Okay, no worries. So
but I can see what it says.
We are doing a police academy. So we do a senior police academy, a regular police academy, a teen police academy, a Spanish police academy. So Detective Chad Benavides, who works out of our Collaborative Crisis Services Unit, came up with a concept to do a police academy where we're going to connect individuals with disabilities and their caregivers with police officers to promote a safe interaction should they have interaction with the police.
Okay.
So this will start on May 27th, every month, one time a month for 8 months. And if anyone is interested in participating, you can call Detective Benavides, 224-760-5414. It's also on the flyer. So really great idea. Another way to connect with our community and to be responsive to the needs of people, who, may not be comfortable and may have, a disability that, may cause some concern for them to have a contact with the police. So something new that we're doing this year. So I'm really excited for that as well. And also this week, we started our business chats. So officers have been out in the area of Wing Park and McLean. Next time you'll see the officers are on St. Patrick's Day, which is Monday.
Yeah.
They will be in the Tyler Creek area. So business chats take place in March, April, and then obviously we start our walk and talks sometime in early June. So as we ramp up here to the summer events, a lot of stuff going on, planning for 4th of July, planning for summer events, planning for all this, our open house, planning for. So summer is just, it starts getting really busy here. So make sure that if you don't follow us on Facebook that you do, we'd love to see you at some of these events. And then I want to say congratulations to a whole bunch of people.
Okay.
So last week, I think it was last week, we went to the Kane County Officer of the Year event, which is hosted by the Kane County Chiefs of Police Association. So all these agencies in Kane County submit their officers to be the Kane County Officer of the Year.
Yeah.
So there were 10 submittals, but some submittals had multiple officers involved in an incident. So we put in Officer Cameron Dirk for Officer of the Year. So Cameron did a very exceptional job. A woman was being attacked. We posted this on our Facebook. It was last year. She was being attacked by a dog, and because of his swift action, he saved her. And I will tell you, I watched the video of Officer Dirk, and he's not been a police officer for that long, but wow, just a true professional. So myself and the command staff, we have these conversations about who do we want to put forward, and let's see. And I said, this is like, to me, it's a no-brainer. He's a winner, right? So we went in with that mindset, and sure enough, he won. So
really nice.
It was awesome. Because there's a lot of great work that the officers in Kane County are doing. So I want to say congratulations to all the nominees. And when you sit there and you hear all this great work from Aurora and Carpentersville and St. Charles and all these agencies, Geneva, and so when they called his name, we were so proud of him and proud of the work that he does, and just a true professional. Like this is the officers of the police department. I say it all the time, right? We're not perfect people because we're humans. No one's perfect, right? But when you see the work that they do, and just really great people in that organization, and when you can highlight and spotlight, a young officer who has probably 30 more years left in his career.
Wow.
So. Yeah, so I'm going to see maybe if he wants to come on the radio show, you guys can meet him. And, I'll ask him if he wants to come on. And, I don't force people to come on the show, but most of the time. But I think he will. So you guys can meet him. And so congratulations, Cameron. Well-deserved.
He saved somebody's life who was being attacked by a dog?
Yes, basically, yeah. And, I watched the video, and I will tell you, I've seen a lot of body-worn camera videos. I've seen a lot of things, and just a true professional. So, great job. I also want to say we also did our annual awards last week. So I want to say congratulations to all the award winners for the exceptional work that they do throughout the year. But for our Of the Year awards, which are kind of the highlight of the evening. So our Rookie of the Year is Officer Fernando Camacho. Our Officer of the Year is Detective Beth Steriker. Our Supervisor of the Year is Sergeant Chris Hughes. Civilian of the Year is Danny Flores, who's our crime specialist.
Yeah.
And he does, I know everyone knows Danny. And then we also honor and have them participate with us, our Explorer of the Year, which is Yoretzi Morales. So I want to say congratulations to all of them. just exceptional work. And also our telecommunicator of the year, Kayla Williams. And so she did an exceptional job as well, handling some calls that were pretty significant and pretty serious. She's a very new telecommunicator. And so you can imagine somebody's calling, there's a lot of stressful stuff going on. You have to give that information out. You have to be accurate.
Yeah.
You've only been doing this job for about a year and a half. So a lot of great work happening at the Elgin Police Department. I want to say congratulations to all of the award winners. Well deserved.
Yeah, nice job, everybody.
And I think, does that take us to a couple minutes
Well,
here?
we still have a couple more minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So I would definitely say just look at our events that are coming up here. Make sure that you're getting involved. If you have any questions about anything, let us know. Our senior police academy is in motion now. I know that our police academy, the normal one, I think is closed now because we have enough people. So definitely, it's a great way to get involved. We just finished training for our civilian review board. So we did on Sunday, myself and Deputy Chief Schuessler were there, finishing up the training that's needed before the board can take place. They're in the process right now of doing their ride-alongs. So they have to complete a ride-along, and then the board will meet. So I anticipate maybe another month or so.
So these are people that will be involved. They're the regular citizens, and if there are any issues that come up where police officers need to be reviewed outside of the actual police force reviewing your own people, their input is welcome. But you want to make sure that they have the proper training. So that they kind of know enough about the police department to be educated in making some of their recommendations eventually, right?
Yeah, I mean, the training that they went through, we had an attorney come in and talk about search and seizure. I've talked about, the internal process, the police officer bill of rights, officers are afforded rights, and understanding the process is also very important. So even that training, it was 2 days. I mean, we did 2 days of training. We did it about a month ago, and then we just had a couple that had to make up some of the training because they had to leave. 2 days is enough, but it's not enough, right? It's enough where I definitely think the first couple cases that they're going to review, they're going to have a lot of questions, and if this was in place 5-6 years from now, it might be a smoother kind of operation, but I think the first couple times they're going to have questions. So we trained them as best as we could on use of force. They were on our simulator, looking at all our technology, talking about, how we respond to calls, the law, search and seizure, the process. I mean, a lot. It was a lot for 2 days. It was very intense. And, and then they do a ride along. And so they get to kind of see all this stuff in action. And so my hope is that, as the first couple cases that do come in, there could be months where there's nothing going on, so that's the other thing.
We hope so, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I really, really hope so. I would love that. But there could be, times where, there's an influx of complaints. So, and it just depends. They're only seeing certain type of complaints per the ordinance, the more serious in nature. Not your everyday things that just are, business of the department where people make mistakes and they're, it's a counseling and they, something is corrected and, life goes on. And then there's some that are pretty serious, and that we have to, it's not as simple as just that. So.
But it's just recommendations that they're going to make, right?
Yeah. So ultimately they, the board makes a recommendation to me and then I make my decision. Any disciplinary recommendation that I make, goes through our legal department to ensure that, that legally I can make that recommendation. We look at other cases, and then ultimately the city manager has to sign off on any recommendation. But in the end, yes, it's my recommendations. I will, they can recommend to me what they believe or what they think, and then I can take that into consideration. But ultimately, it's what I'm saying as the police chief based on, this is my profession, right?
Yeah.
This is what I do. So, but I hope it was great. They've been great. It was really good to have them involved and kind of see. And, a lot of them had already known kind of what the police department does. So that was really good too, because they have a lot of knowledge. So if you were to sit on a civilian review board, you have this huge advantage, right? Because you've been
doing this with you for a long time. Yeah.
You have a huge advantage, right? Because you understand some of the stuff. And so imagine trying to get all that knowledge in one little block of time, right? So But so yeah, I will keep everyone posted on that when they're officially in place. And other than that, I hope everyone has a great weekend. If you're going to go and celebrate for St. Patrick's Day, be safe, right?
Be smart.
Be smart, be safe. Have a designated driver, call an Uber, call a friend, or walk.
Walk.
How about that, right?
It's always nice to get some fresh air.
Right, yes.
All right.
So everyone stay safe.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief Anna Lally, Elgin Police Department. Steve Thorne's right around the corner. He's not even around the corner. He's in the room, and he's coming up next.
Get ready for Around the House every Saturday night from 5 to 7 p.m. on WRMN AM 1410. If you're a homeowner or contractor looking to tackle those projects that feel a bit too big, this is the show for you. Join Eric along with his knowledgeable guests as they dive deep into everything from DIY renovations to creating a healthy home environment. We'll provide you with the tools and tips you need to complete your projects with confidence and ease. But it's not all work and no play. We believe in having fun. Our passion for home improvement shines through as we help you save time, money, and reduce the stress of DIY. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, don't miss Around the House. Tune in every Saturday night and let's tackle those home projects together.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
The new novel, titled DUI Jury Trial, is the true story of two lawyers who defend a truck driver who is charged with DUI. If he's convicted, this truck driver faces a lifetime disqualification of his commercial driver's license, which would prevent him from ever driving a truck again. This 3-year legal battle culminates in a courtroom showdown, which involves the testimony of a DUI expert witness. This book, DUI Jury Trial, is now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
This is the Chef of Love, Chef Jannard, TV host and restaurateur. My grandparents harvested their land to sell food and share this overflowing bounty with our community. Grandma said, for every yam we pick, we give one away. In the world they cultivated, I love preparing and eating dinner with my family on Sundays. When our resources changed, food assistance programs sustained us. They gave me fuel to start my first culinary business at 16 years old, and inspiration to donate the extra food in my community. Through my life, I've developed an appetite to work with others to ensure everyone has access to the nutritious food we need to thrive. Together, we can help end hunger. Come on, join the movement with Feeding America by volunteering, donating, and advocating. Learn more at feedingamerica.org/act now.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
.935 here on this Friday morning, WRMN AM 1410, WRMN Radio on YouTube. We continue the musical chairs here at Studio 14 as we went from Susie C. to Anna Lally to now Steve Thorne. It's time for the Senior Community Spotlight Show on a Friday morning where it's going to be exceptionally warm. Welcome to the hot seat, Stevie T.
Hey, it's sizzling. Welcome, yes. Marky B, to you too, and always good to be here. I've been listening to you since the Lost Yankee.
Yeah. I was listening to that show when I walked in this morning, and I heard Rita talking about how they took $6 to a cashier, and the person that they were trying to pay for some chips or something. It was during their small talk they make as the show gets underway at 5:37 every day. Mm-hmm. And it was something about the cashier didn't want cash.
Oh, boy, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
But I've heard them talk about young people that can't figure out when you want to, if it cost $5.81, you give them $6, or you give them a 10 and a 1.
Right.
Because they want a 5.
You want a 5 back.
And they go, well, you don't need to give me this 1. Well, yes, I want a 5 back. But it's only $6. I know, but I want a 5 back.
It blows them away.
Well, you're giving me too much.
It blows them away. I know. So
then, okay, here's the 10. Now give me the 4 singles back. Now I'm going to give you this single and the 4 back to get a 5. Now we could have saved a step. Do you get it now? No.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I know why. They were taught how to do that on a sheet of paper written in cursive.
I don't know. Between
they couldn't read that.
Between credit cards and debit cards and things like that, and them not being trained on using cash growing up, combined with maybe not needing to learn math like you had to do when we were small, because you have everything to do the math for you.
Yeah. Amazing. I know how much change I'm going to get back at a register before they even know, even with their automatic machines. But if they didn't have those machines, they would be lost.
Yeah.
Well, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. Tired, but I'm okay. How are you?
Good. Again, I'm glad that your event went well last week. I would have been there if I didn't have to work.
Yeah.
But we made our little arrangement of supporting each other and
right.
Financially. So I heard you had a little unexpected tent situation, but sounds like you got everything worked out.
Yeah, it worked out well.
And good attendance. So
really nice attendance, yeah.
All your supporters that are regular callers came. And
we probably could have used a little more space, but that's a good sign. That's a good thing.
Well, more space for the amount of people that came.
Yeah,
which you really
to have places to sit and eat and things like that. Yeah.
Well, it's not huge.
No.
And I wondered about that. I can see where it could have been more effective if it was warmer, but you still had people going out.
Yeah. So, and my thanks to Carrie and Rick, and the hospitality was amazing, and they cranked out food all day long.
Top shelf.
Our friend Scotty McGrath was there, and he supported the event, and Vicky made a bunch of lasagnas to add to our food that we had available all day long. So, yeah, so they really pitched in and helped out a lot. So, and they were able to arrange this last minute tent when the original plan fell through. So,
yeah,
it was great. It was great in all those ways. So, thank you, Carrie and Rick and Scotty and Vicky and everybody involved with the RKs.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet. Well, speaking of Scotty, I'm so happy for him. The Nissan will be opening in the Nissan on Randall in Elgin will be opening in May.
Yeah, I was talking to Scotty a little bit about that at the event. He said something about he might get a bus so that he and everybody he can round up can bring the cars from one dealership to the other dealership, and they all get on the bus and they come back and get some more cars.
Hey, that's pretty smart. Yeah.
To get them over there faster.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
That would be the way to do it in a caravan. And why do separate trips? Or, I mean, obviously, if you have cars, you could get 4 or 5, maybe 6 people, maybe 7 in an SUV or something. But a bus would make so much more sense.
You need to get the cars there faster.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool idea.
Never thought about that
would
before.
be neat to have on video, too. You'd have to have some pictures of that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when the patients were transferred from the old Sherman Hospital to the new one. That was on national news.
Yeah.
And Pat Crawford did it with his ambulances. But he only had so many ambulances, and he had to leave one in the shop for an emergency call.
Yeah.
But he took all the patients over, and then they all went back, and then they took them all over, and they were ready down below at the old facility to go out of emergency, and they were ready at the new facility to receive them. It kind of sounds weird, but I was actually in Mississippi visiting my dad, and I saw it on television.
Really?
Yeah, because it showed a caravan of them going across 90 on the river.
Yeah.
From probably a helicopter.
Guess you don't have hospital transfers very often like that.
No.
I mean, from time to time, a hospital becomes new and they have to do that, but I guess it happens rarely enough for that to become national news or something.
Unless it happens in your town, you don't really think of it.
Yeah.
And unless you happen to see it on the news or something. I mean, but that was pretty interesting. Well, let's move on. Good news is, don't have a memorial today. So you know what that means. We don't have someone to talk about that left us.
That is good news.
So last week, sad with my dear friend Steve Smith, but went to his service this past Monday. Was visitation. Service was Tuesday. Talked with both of his sons. Talked with his two sisters, his brother, and certainly his widow, our good friend Joanne. They're all doing as good as expected, and Laird did a phenomenal job. The most crowded I can remember a actual service inside Laird's ever. I've never seen that many people where there not only were not any open chairs, there were people standing around the perimeter. And they had extra chairs brought in that lined the perimeter, and then they were brought forward. I mean, it was just amazing how many people came, because so many people nowadays just go to visitation.
Yeah.
But this was the service. And then the luncheon was at Moretti's out in Randall, and they took care of everybody very, very well. Well, Steve Smith and family, rest in peace, old friend. We will always remember you. Here we are with another Senior Community Spotlight program, and I need to include my intro line, Marky B.
Yes.
Hi, everybody, and happy Friday. I hope everyone had a good week out there. Steve Thorne here with another Community Spotlight program. I'm luckily and fortunately and gladly joined here by the morning host, co-host of the show, the trustee, Marky B. Yes, the word I used was refreshing for Susie, and I think that really fits. Amazing to me how well she sounds as if she's been here for a year. She just seems to blend.
She's comfortable.
Yeah. And you know what? She projects that.
Yeah.
She's comfortable. I think that her comfort of projecting it and ease is felt by everyone. And even David, you got him calling extra.
Well, I tell you.
I think he's calling just to talk to her.
We're having to fight David off here lately.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Come on, David. Well, I think she's bringing a breath of fresh air that's a nice thing, and everybody seems to enjoy it. So hats off to the whole team here and for you with your adjustment. But, I thought about it as you get set in your ways. The challenge of continual talking by yourself is somewhat lifted.
It is. The challenge has been, it's been fine. It's been fine, but I'm not used to having to converse so much with somebody right at the beginning of the show. And that's what's taken place the first 2 weeks, which is fine. And many people have co-hosts from the start of their show. But for the longest time, even when I had Larry and Jakes and other co-hosts coming in, they wouldn't come in until later in the show. So I felt like I kind of had a chance to settle in for a while and then have a co-host. But with Susie C here, we got to be hitting it right off the bat. Got to be ready for some early morning conversation, Stevie T.
Yes, and it has been interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
So from a naked man running around outside to the story of the double wide. So it's different topics that haven't been talked about before.
Yeah.
Enjoyable, Mark. Well, listeners, as you know, I always start each week with a dedication, most often a memorial, sometimes to a living person or persons, even a place or an event. But without a dedication this week, it gives me a chance to say hello to a few more folks. First, we want to just say get well to everyone out there that's struggling with any type of health issue. Of course, I always bring him up first. Our dear friend, Genius George, I think the world of him, and so many others do as well. He's done so much for so many and this community. But he needs your thoughts and prayers. He's struggling more than he sounds, and now he's doing better this week than last. So that's one good thing. You know, it's ups and downs.
Sounded good on the phone this morning when he called.
I know.
Yeah.
He's incredible. He's so driven. And so hats off to George. Please keep George in your thoughts and prayers for continued health and being able to move along. He's got his little dog Louie and his dear companion Chris, of who he relies on him so much, and he's helping her all the time. Also want to say hi to my friend out west, Cindy, way out west. You know, I talked about her for quite a while, then I hadn't, but she is indeed still notably struggling. She had soldier surgery, and it didn't go well, and she has been in excruciating pain ever since. And the insurance only goes so far for something like that. Now they tell her she's got to do something else, and she's at wit's end. And she said it hurts so bad. It's causing sleep issues and just normal activity, let alone extra activity.
Yeah.
She's the one that has all those critters on her porch. A skunk and a possum and a raccoon all eating, but not making destruction. You know, she's got an area where they don't have anything they can tear up, but they've got bowls of food and water, and they know they can come there and get it. And it was amazing to see them out there sharing all that. And one picture last year, I remember even had her cat out there, or an outside cat. At the same time, all 5, a mother raccoon, 4 babies, a possum, and I think a skunk was all out there at once, and a cat, all eating out of different bowls.
So do they have different days where the theme for the food is different? Like one day it's skunk food, the next day it's raccoon food, then maybe one day it's cat food?
I think it's all the same kind of, It's probably cat food. I don't know what it is she's giving them. But anyway, she'll probably text me later and tell me. But she sure loves her animals and takes care of them and prevents them from their fate and helps them survive. So, Cindy, I hope you feel better. And, of course, all of my friends that had ankle and leg problems and bone problems, just hoping everybody's doing better. Well, let's move on with a few hellos. I want to say thank you to Anna. She's doing so much for the city and the police department. Elgin Police and Fire, I tell you, they're top of the list for me, and I think the world of them. And how about congratulations to some of those that got some awards. So Danny, I'll see him. He's such a character. So he got the Civilian Police Award.
Yeah.
Being downtown. And so way to go to all of them. And Beth Steriker, I grew up with her dad. He lived across the street from me when I was a little kid. And a couple of the Sterikers been through the department. So congratulations, Officer of the Year for her. I know Jerry Barnhart is still improving, and so I hope she's doing better. And I want to say hi to my friend Ken Barnhart. Mark, I have breakfast with him every Saturday morning. He's the only athlete inducted into the Elgin Sports Hall of Fame for his sport.
Right.
Drag racing.
That's right.
I mean, he set records. He had two of his prize cars he finally sold last year. And they were Camaros, and one was a 1968, one I think was a 2002. They had matching paint schemes. They had a custom double trailer that hauled them both. And they were both incredibly powerful. And the 68, I recall, was serial number 16. That was the VIN number on the car.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Serial number 16 on that. And I don't recall, there was something that went along correlated with that on the 2002. But they went to a museum out in Iowa. So he still got about 15 cars, though. And his birthday is Sunday. He's 89.
Really?
Happy birthday, Kenny.
Happy birthday, Ken.
Next, we want to say hi to the Kallenbergers. And, Dave Kallenberger did a great job with the board over there for that forum.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice. And good job at working on cars in the day and helping the council members at night. Way to go, Dave. And hats off to everybody at Kallenberger Auto over there. Hi to Amy Lessing. Hi to Rose Martinez. I saw her a couple times during the week besides council, and I enjoy serving with her so much. Next is CK and her crew, Anna, Gina, Heidi. I hope Heidi's doing better. Seems to be.
Yeah.
And also want to say hi to friend of Brenda. I drove by the Hut. She expressed her disappointment in the Delta 8 ban.
She sure did.
Sold a lot of them.
I was in there yesterday, and she did express her disappointment.
I know, and I understand that. She expressed it to me. I heard it from some, but I got praise from some. And it's some of those things that what really got me on board with that was when Anthony went to a particular shop and he bought a baggie with no label, nothing, a baggie full of colored Fruit Loops.
Yes, I saw that.
But they were Delta 8 infused. Who's monitoring the level? How strong is it? Is it really Delta 8? Is it 9, 10, 11? Are there any warnings? Who can buy it? Anybody.
Right. But did that particular bag, did it come from the supplier, or did that particular store get this stuff and split it up and put it in their own bags?
That's what
I
it
wonder.
looked like, but there's no regulation against that.
Really?
You see what I mean? That's the part. So it's a non-regulated product, and it's a shame, and I know a lot of people wanted it. Hopefully they can monitor it and get it. And every week, another city is banning it. That's part of it. If you think about this, they had to think that it was coming. It's not like this just came out of the blue and we were the first town to all of a sudden do it without any notice of thought.
Right. It's just that, and the vote was 5-4, so it was pretty hotly contested. But I think one of the things with some of these stores, like hers, with that store, is they have limited things that they sell, and it was one way they continued to make some revenue to keep the store open.
And I feel for them.
Yeah.
And if every store was like that, it would not have happened. But because there's no regulation, you can't single people out. How are you going to monitor it? So that's the situation. So anyhow, friend of Brenda, we love you and care and hope that things can go okay. If I can think of anything to help, I sure will. Next, we move on and say hi to Laura Buman's family, 58 Mike, the Bruning family, Schneiders, of course, Tom, Tim, Vicky, Scotty, Carrie from RK's, Rick, hope you're all doing well. Mike Warren and the Warren family. They do so much, and I know that Laurel recently has been so sad that Jay Warren, no relation, but he was the organist that did all the silent films, and I talked about him a few weeks back, and that was just, I don't really know how he passed. The obituary I got from Chicago Tribune just said unexpected, and he was only, I think, 74, and he was always at all these theaters playing the organ, and he played it so well, was able to play it to the screen on the silent films. And at the Arcada all the time. Just great. And Laura was a member of that society like we are, the Silent Film Society. Yes, a sad loss. Ron Onesti put in a blurb out about, what a loss that was. Next is say hi to Ernie over at Wing Park. I hope to see him in another season here. Ken Bruderly, helping out so many people and doing so much for our community. Hi, Ken. Supervisor of the year, in my opinion. Jeff from St. Ed's, class of 95. Mikey Hunger, the Skoke family. Lorraine Frost. Hi, Lorraine. Greg and Judy DeRay, I hope they're doing well. I'm going to get them over this spring if it kills me. Our dear friend Carrie over at Turner's, go visit her for a fish fry. Man, she knows how to make potatoes. Owls Club friends, I hope they're all doing better as we all mourn the loss of Steve. And next is Larry Best out in Hampshire. He's been on the mend too, but he's doing so much better. Way to go, Larry. First Shift Sherry, I had a nice chat with Don Quillman. I had breakfast with him a couple days ago, and boy, he's sure happy with you, Sherry, and knows how much you've done for the museum. So way to go. We had a nice chat. Steve Herod and his dog Lexi, Mary Cantu. Next is my dear neighbor friend Kathy Newby, always listening in. She's shopping for a new car. Hope she gets it. Johnny and Mary Vargas. Hi, Johnny. I hope you're doing well. 96. Smooth, swinging, Tommy Leith. Hope you're in the Riverside League again this year, Tom. I'm talking to you soon on something else. Tony and Sue out in Del Webb. Next is, let's see, where are we here? Barb Parker and Ellen Widener over at Walter Court. How we doing on our time?
2 minutes.
Oh, boy. Well, I guess I better close off with saying hi to my dear wife. Always helping, always supporting, always doing so much, and always loving. Loving me, loving Lucy, loving George, and loving everybody. Thanks, dear. I want to remind everyone, the Elgin History Museum, the Elgin Public Museum, please visit them, support them, tell people about them. Make sure you also tell people about WRMN. We're doing better all the time. Subscribe to that YouTube, just like Susie says in the morning.
Yeah.
And Anderson Humane, they do so much for so many. Think of fostering a dog. Fish fries, it's that time of the year. Turner's, Eagles, RK's, Public House, Paul's, Legion. They're all out there. They're all doing well. Make sure you try them. Hoppy's Corner. They've all got great fish fries in our Elgin area. And the Legion has so many other things going on. Mark Smith's doing a great job over there. And I want to remind everyone, I proudly stand for the American flag, for the flag will stand for me. Thank a policeman, a fireman, and a veteran every day. Where are we at, Mark?
Oh, it looks like we got a minute.
A minute left.
Something like that, yeah. 45 seconds to a minute.
Got it. Well, listeners, take advantage of what WRMN has to offer. You know, they've got great advertising opportunities as well. You know a friend that has a business? What a great opportunity it is to advertise on WRMN as the listenership keeps growing. Community radio at its finest. What other little towns have this? Elgin is the city in the suburbs, and one of the things that sets us apart is this station you're listening to right now. Be part of it and tell others to listen as well. Remember, keep a good and positive attitude. It's helpful to be happy. Who knows what might happen? For one thing, you're sick less often.
Yes.
The happier you are, the healthier you are.
That's right.
It's true.
It is true.
I know a crabby person, and he's always sick. And I know happy people, and they never seem to get sick.
I know, right?
That's the way it works. Well, listeners, I got some good news for you. In 2.5 weeks, all the signs will be going away around town.
That's right.
We didn't talk about it, but with all that wind this weekend, let's hope they last too. All right, that's it. But I'll be back in about 5 or 6 minutes with Music Memories. Stick with us, everybody.
With your 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by The Green Gobbler. Michael Benjamin has been sentenced to 164 years to life in prison for a grim kidnapping and assault that occurred on May 26th of last year. The 40-year-old is said to have forcibly abducted a young woman on North Clinton Avenue and forcibly sexually assaulted her. Police swiftly responded and located the victim and Benjamin, taking him into custody that day. The Gail Borton Public Library Foundation is hosting its annual spring book sale from March 20th through the 23rd. The event kicks off with a $10 preview night the night before, March 19th, granting early access from 5 to 8:30 p.m. Skitch Electric Company is set to move its headquarters from Streamwood to Elgin, contingent on Cook County tax breaks. Liab Investments plans to construct a 14,100 square foot building at Villa Street and Shills Parkway, seeking a Class 6B tax incentive. The Elgin City Council backs the proposal, anticipating development in a long vacant site. With your 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, T-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mow.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
From the pages of the Elgin newspapers of 100 years ago today, these are the headlines brought to you by the Elgin History Museum.
This is Linda Rock sharing stories that were in Elgin newspapers on March 7th, 1925. School officials and parents of boys of high school age who are accustomed to go to school in automobiles and then go joyriding after school were today appealed to aid the police campaign in curbing this practice by Police Magistrate George R. Thompson. The fond indulgence of parents who allow their youngsters to drive instead of the healthy habit of walking was criticized by Thompson. There's too much of this reckless driving going on by schoolboys, he said. It's going to stop and stop at once. A woman's beauty parlor will be opened Monday at the Elgin State Hospital, Superintendent Ralph Hinton announced today. Service will be rendered to women patients only and will be free of charge. Equipment for the beauty shop, which will be one of the most modern, will cost several $1,000s. It is located in the Women's Psychopathic Building. According to Superintendent Hinton, 3 regularly employed operators will be retained in the parlor, and they will be assisted by several of the women patients who have had experience in bobbing, marcelling, shampooing, manicuring, and massage work. It is believed that the creation of the beauty parlor at the hospital sets a precedent for this kind of service at any state institution. More than 1,200 women patients will receive the benefits of this new addition to the hospital facilities.
Elgin 100 years ago is a presentation of the Elgin History Museum. Be sure to visit the museum located at 360 Park Street in Elgin, open Wednesday through Saturdays 11 to 4. You can also listen to Elgin 100 years ago at www.elginhistory.com.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. Today, mostly sunny with a high near 79. Windy conditions with gusts up to 45 miles per hour. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms likely, with a low around 54. Some storms could produce heavy rain. Looking ahead to tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high near 63. Currently, it is 56 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase.
I just paid hundreds for this flight, and you can't even throw in internet? I'll just take the free pretzels.
Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale.
I'm just gonna sleep.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well.
I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all.
For a little lighthearted lawlessness on Sunday afternoons, listen to Handle on the Law from 4 to 7 p.m. Handle on the Law is a unique combination of useful legal advice and outrageous Handle remarks. Whether you're talking about Big Brother, big business, big legal problems, or Big Macs, you'll rarely find Bill without an opinion. His rapid-fire commentary gives listeners the information they crave in the way they crave it. It's Handle on the Law, Sunday afternoons from 4 to 7 p.m. right here on WRMN, AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Hi, this is Sue with Newman's Corner Pub in Hampshire, Illinois. Are you looking for the perfect hangout spot? Swing by Newman's Corner Pub right at the corner of 72 and State Street in Hampshire. Enjoy fantastic drinks, live music, and a fun crowd that makes every visit special. Test your luck with our hot slots and our Queen of Hearts drawing every Saturday at 3 p.m. Challenge your friends to darts or pool while you're here. Newman's Corner Pub, where every day feels like a weekend. Visit us at Route 72 and State Street in Hampshire. That's Newman's Corner Pub, your new favorite spot.
Friday continues here at WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN Radio on YouTube, 10 o'clock hour. Matt's in next hour with his Out to Lunch show. Got Bill Pellerino's Wild Bill in today at noon, and all of that on the way later. White Sox baseball today at 3 on the Blowtorch, but right now, more of Steve Thorne. It's time now for Music Memories, our great Friday show that happens almost every Friday here on WRMN. Welcome back to the show, Steve.
Hey, thanks, Marky B. Good to be back. Seems like we just were right here. I haven't even moved out of my chair.
That's right.
Music memories, one of my favorite things, music and artists and records. And oh boy, I think it's so much fun. And I actually learned some things too as I do some internet searching about some of these bands and songs and history. And I hope that you all enjoy it as we play snippets and things. But before we start today, something I didn't get to in the Spotlight program was we talked about the late, great Wally Shales, who left us last year at the age of 100. And Wally's service, he left us a few months ago. His service is tomorrow at Simmons at noon. Age 100, he's a war veteran. Got a proclamation from Mayor Captain when he turned 100 last year at the city council meeting. And I know his daughter, Cindy, and even his sister, Aunt Nora, as they all call her. So hats off to them. They did so much for Wally in his later years. And Wally Shales will be laid to rest finally, but he'll be having a service tomorrow at Simmons at noon. And I'm so sorry I will not be able to attend that, Cindy. Just so you know, I have an obligation that I have to attend, but I'll be there in spirit. Anyone else that remembers Wally Shales, if you can go over to Simmons Madison tomorrow, noon at Simmons Madison. We're going to do our music memories, Mark. We got the Nines today, the Nines. So that is 4 decades of Nines. 59, 69, 79, and 89. And speaking of nines, we're on number 9. The number 9 song of the entire year of each one of those years in their decades, respectively. So the number 9 song for the entire year of 1959, as registered by the Billboard charts, was a song that was actually written in 1952. It was first performed in 1952 by Little Willie Littlefield, and the song was then called K.C. Loving. But in 1959, it was recorded by Wilbert Harrison. Wilbert Harrison, an R&B performer born in 1929, passed away of a stroke in 1994, a pianist, guitarist, and a harmonica player, besides a singer. He performed this song in 1959, and it made it to the number 9 position for the entire year. The song is Kansas City.
What you doing, Wilbur? You going to sing this one to us or what? Let's see. Can't seem to get Wilbur to play here.
Well, we're working on it, folks.
Yeah.
We're working on Kansas City by Wilbert Harrison, and I'll fill you in a little bit as we talk about it. Of course, that song was also performed by the Beatles, and the Beatles played Kansas City, and Wilbert Harrison had a lot of other songs that he did as well. So it's kind of neat that Wilbert Harrison brought that song out of the weeds, I guess you could say, from being a KC living or KC loving. And let's see, he's bringing Matt over.
Yeah, we need some backup. We need some reinforcement here.
We've got our technicalities here with some things that are happening with the computer and the board. And Matt's putting his wisdom eyes on. Why is the song not playing that's downloaded through the internet? So they're looking at it. And as we do that, it's interesting. Wilbert Harrison certainly wasn't related to George Harrison. But the Beatles later sang this song, and it was one of their hits. I'm trying to remember. I think it was on their second album. And when Wilbert Harrison took it on, he was actually an American rhythm and blues singer. But he was born January 5th, 1929 in Charlotte, North Carolina. He passed away at age 65 in Spencer, North Carolina. And he was active from 1950 to 1990. So last 4 years, he was taking it easy. He was on Savoy Records, Sue Records, Fury, Sphere Sound, Juggernaut, and Chelsea. So kind of an interesting man. He had a Billboard #1 hit with the song Kansas City. Now, even though it was #1, it was #9 for the entire year. So as I talk about that for the entire year, it doesn't mean that it didn't make it to #1. That's the case with a lot of our songs here. The song was written in 52, as I remember. Collaborations by the team of Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller. It sold over 1 million copies and was awarded a gold disc. Harrison recorded Kansas City for the Harlem-based entrepreneur Bobby Robinson, who released it on his Fury record label. Imagine that and how it made him so much money at the time. At the height of the song's success, Robinson was sued by Savoy Records, who informed them that the release of the record in March of '59 violated a contract Harrison had with that label that was to expire in August of '59. The litigation, which lasted until September of '59, abruptly prevented Robinson from issuing follow-ups to Kansas City while Harrison was a star. Boy, even those record companies were doing lawsuits way back then. And it's just amazing and unfortunate. To me, those lawsuits, the only winner is the attorney. So sorry if some of you attorneys are out there listening. You know, so that's the joke you always hear, even amongst your own selves within your profession. Harrison continued to perform and record, but it would be another 10 years before he again cracked the Billboard Top 40 when he released the self-penned Let's Work Together, Part 1, that went to number 32 in early 1970 on the Billboard Hot 100. The 1970 hit version was released as a single on Sue Records, Sue 11, and was backed with Let's Work Together, Part 2. The song was also released in a 5-minute, 19-second version on the Sue Records album SSLP 8801, Let's Work Together. The song was originally released by Harrison in 1962 with different lyrics as Let's Stick Together on Fury in 1059 and Fury 1063. Well, it's kind of neat because I talked about this band performing in Elgin when I talked about it 3 days ago on the Elgin History program. Canned Heat. They actually performed his Let's Work Together, and it was a hit for them. That's pretty neat. Also became a hit song for Brian Ferry. Brian Ferry of Roxy Music, and one of my wife's favorite musicians, Brian Ferry, singing that song. Amazing how so many of those different things are intertwined. It was also recorded by country rock band the Kentucky Headhunters for the soundtrack to the movie Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. That's kind of interesting. The Marlboro Man. Young kids today don't know who that is.
No.
Well, what's our issue here?
Well, we can't seem to get this computer to play the music. Even Matt wasn't able to figure it out. So I think we might have to restart it. So I think we might have to take our break that we usually take in the middle of the show here, try to fire up the computer during the break, and then come back, and we won't take a break in the middle.
Sounds good to me.
And then we'll see if we can squeeze in as many of the songs as we can.
All righty. Listeners, please be patient with us. The world of electronics. So we're going to reset the computer, and in the meantime, you'll hear the bottom of the hour news ahead of the bottom of the hour.
It's 10:16.
Stick with us.
It's 10:16 on Music Memories. We'll be right back. We're having a little technical issue. We're going to work on it right now. The Moose Lodge 799 in Elgin is a place to connect with family, friends, and your community. Moose Lodge 799 is conveniently located at 925 South McLean Boulevard, and they offer fun family activities, exciting community service projects, and live entertainment on the weekends.